Earl, up top, rising, layup, good. It's a triple-double for Bella Earl.
Those matched up with a speedy guard. Great screen, spin move, layup, he missed it. Williamson fights for the board. His putback is good.
With 3 weeks left in the WAC women's basketball regular season, the GCU women's basketball team is on the precipice of their first title in program history. But ahead of the Lopes is a 2-game road trip of their two of their 3 toughest competitors in CBU this Saturday in Riverside, and then next Thursday at the College Park Center, UT Arlington. Joining us this morning on the Straight Outta WAC podcast is GCU women's basketball coach Molly Miller. Molly, thanks for joining us this Tuesday morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, a 20-plus game winning streak. I think you thought you guys were going to be good, but did you ever see a 20-game winning streak in the cards this year?
With this team, I thought anything was really possible. I knew we had a really, really tough non-conference schedule, so I knew kind of going into December we could be below 500, at 500, or above 500, but that's kind of where you get to find out a little bit more of your team, and I'm really glad we got to find out that we could be pretty good this year. So we tested ourselves early, but I think that was a really good start for us to kind of gain confidence that we can play with anyone. And then obviously going to the conference, that gave us a good boost just to see kind of where we were at and what we had done and where we want to go.
Yeah, you guys have had to dig down deep a couple of times in this winning streak, most recently Saturday against UT Arlington. I know most people would look at that score and think that was a ho-hum 13-point victory, but it was anything from.
Yeah, they were a good team. I didn't think we played our best basketball. So, to be able to pull out a win when I didn't think we were really flowing or executing the way that we had been or that we were capable of, that was a good thing for us to be able to win a little bit differently. Had to guard some really good players on that UTA team. They've got a talented group, and we were really proud of the way, Tiara being a 5th-year senior, and we know how good Coy Love is, but I thought Tiara did a great job on her, and Brittingham, those two were kind of the main focus. Aspen kind of had herself a game, but it was a good all-around team effort. Obviously good to get a win at home against a really good team.
When you're in the thralls of conference play and you're rolling through people for the most part, is it good to see one of those every once in a while to kind of keep you alive for Vegas?
Oh, we've played from behind many times in this conference slate, so I think any given night these kids know that if we're not playing our best basketball, you can take one on the chin, and that's something that we've talked about. That's the challenge for our team, is we know we're going to get every single team's best shot when they come play us or we go play them, and that's just something that has been a focus mentality for us. And I think it's been really good to have that mindset as we go into every game, that we are going to get each team's best punch, and they've handled that really, really well. But it's good to see this conference has a lot of style, different types of styles of basketball. So it's good to see us win in different ways. We had to get some defensive stops down there in Tarleton. I think our offense was clicking more at home. So we played the same team, but we just won those 2 games differently. So I think that's a challenge of this team, is just figuring out how we can keep momentum, but also understanding every game is going to look a little different for us.
When you look at the end of last year, did you sense a different urgency with your returning group, the Laura Erikstrups, the Tiaras, the Trinities? Did you sense a different urgency when the year was started? Hey, we got one last chance to get this thing done?
Oh, yeah, sure. When you've got competitors on your team and returners on your team that understand the standards and the expectation, and they're really leaders on this team. Tiara, she's not super vocal, but when she talks, the team listens. And I think she's been more vocal and more in that leadership role than ever this year. So she's got kind of a 5-year history that she's rolling this year from. And I think it's really special to see her kind of get this team together. I talk through her, which is really neat too. I know we have a bye this week, but we had a pretty tough practice yesterday, and that was pretty intentional. And I told Tiara, that this needs to happen for this team right now. I need us to put a little pep in our step on a Monday morning and get after it. and she got her teammates rallied, and we did that. So it's really neat to have those leaders on the floor that kind of manage the team themselves, and I can talk through them instead of at them, and they're saying the same thing I'm saying. So that's really special to have as a coach.
You mentioned that Thursday bye. What does a college basketball coach do on a Thursday night bye?
Well, we practice and we kind of want to simulate a little bit like the game on Thursday. So we'll get up and down a little bit against our practice players. And then I get to watch all the games. That's fun. I know there's not a lot on the slate for WAC play, but it's fun to go through and that evening just kind of sit and watch the games and filter through the ESPN Plus games that are going on all around the country. So we still, for some reason, we still love basketball. I mean, my kids will probably be on both sides of me, so I'll get to spend some time with them, but we're still watching basketball this time of year.
Yeah, we have a couple of games in the WAC on a Wednesday this week, with the Utah schools hosting on Wednesday because of their high school Southern Utah and Utah Valley are hosting their high school tournaments, so they're playing those games on Wednesday.
I'm sure we'll all tune in. It'll be fun. I mean, I like watching basketball in general, but obviously, you kind of know the teams in the WAC, so it's not even from a really competitive or scouting standpoint. You just like to see what they're doing and how they're playing and what they're looking like against each other. So, basketball junkies will understand. Can't get
Oh
enough
yeah.
of.
Um, in about 3 weeks, when Vegas wrap up WAC Vegas, GCU's 5-year tenure in the WAC on the basketball side will come to an end. What will you have taken away from these last handful of years as you prepare to take the Lopes to the Mountain West?
I don't know if the WAC gets enough credit. I think it's a really competitive conference. There's really good coaches in this conference. I look up to a lot of them and the way they run their programs and the way they kind of handle themselves day in and day out. And for my first time in the Division I landscape and scene, it's been a great conference to be a part of. And from the leadership top down, it's been really special. I mean, there's an interpersonal relationship there with administrators and WAC officials, and I think it's really nice. It's good to see in a conference kind of that type of bond. I mean, we can all be frenemies, if you will. We can compete on the court and go after it, but I think off the court, it's a special group of players, coaches, administrative personnel. It's been really great to be a part of.
And then obviously the big one in the room is Saturday. The curtain closes on the CBU GCU rivalry in terms of the regular season. Obviously, there could be one more edition in Vegas. That's what I'm hoping for. But just kind of your thoughts on the rivalry, having been in it for 15 now. I believe it'll be 16 games on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a competitive atmosphere, which you have to love as a coach. Again, Jared's a really great coach, and I've been to his year a lot, and that's another thing that I love about this conference is they're just one phone call away, I feel like, and we can only coaches really know what coaches go through, and so it's nice to have that sounding board sometimes, and we'll talk a lot before the game, and then obviously when the buzzer sounds, we'll congratulate each other too and have nothing but respect for one another. But that's kind of what this rivalry's been like to me. I've admired Jared from afar and now got to know him through the 5 years that I've been here, really respected what he does. But yeah, nothing like a CBU, GCU game. You know, it's going to be full of players that are really out there playing hard, playing to win, competing, giving everything they've got. And that's what you want as a coach.
Looking at your team, I think you have a couple of really key stories this year. Obviously, the returners looking to get across the finish line and bring the Lopes a title that Bryce Drew's team has experienced a couple of times here recently. But you've got Alyssa Durazo Frescas on record watch, multiple record watches. Just, you know, talk about the season she's having to be on multiple record watches for 3-point shooting in the same year. That's unprecedented.
I mean, her work has been her reward, and she works in the shadows, works in literally darkness. I mean, she's here at all hours of the day. And for her to have that success, because we do see so much hard work that she's put in that not really the outsiders see, they just see the result. But She is so driven, one of the most driven players that I've ever coached, and that's paid off for her. I mean, she's shooting threes like layups, and to have that weapon on your team, it's really special. I mean, she's going to get some individual accomplishments, but that's just going to help her team. And she is a team first player. She could kind of care less about all those things. It's just a nod to her hard work as long as she's helping her team. And she's battled a little bit of an injury, but she's hard to keep out. We like have to force her to take a break, take a rep off, but she's a fighter, and it's just so fun to coach her. I mean, everything that I want GCU and our brand of basketball to represent is emulated by Alyssa. And she's just a great human being to top it off. I mean, if you get to talk to her, I would encourage anyone that sees her, just say hi, because she is definitely just a warming personality that lights up a room. And so to have a great basketball player, but also a great ambassador for your program, even for the future, she's definitely one that is near and dear to my heart.
For those folks listening, Durazo Frescas is less than 33 pointers away from the WAC total season three pointers made record, currently held by Las Vegas Aces coach Becky Hammond when she was at Colorado State in the 98-99 school year. And she's just a shade over 30 away from the WAC play total record. Don't know if that'll fall, but Samantha Johnston set that record last year on a 20-game conference schedule with 61. And then just the emergence of Laura Erikstrup down low after you lost Olivia Lane to graduation. I think that was kind of the biggest question mark, was who was going to fill in that spot down there. Just talk about, how she's thrived with starters minutes, because, we all know she was last year's sixth woman of the year in the WAC, played about 20-ish minutes. But from your eyes, just talk about how she's just thrived with starters minutes.
Yeah, I mean, she was under 20 minutes a game last year, and I think that that's a testament. Our staff is great. I think player development is a huge piece to who we are as a program. This summer we put a lot of individual work in, and she put a lot of individual work on her own too. She would call one of the managers or try to get a rebounder in here and just go to work, and that's really special to have when you have a kid that wants it and is hungry, and you don't have to twist their arm to get in the gym. And so now she's reaping the rewards of that too. And those unseen hours, like we talked about with Alyssa, a lot of our kids have worked the summer for this. And whether it was a chip on their shoulder or they just wanted to get better, or player development, really be a huge contributor to the team. Like that doesn't happen in January, it happens in June, July, August, September. So Laura's one of those kids that put in the work during that off season, and she's another great kid. Oh my goodness. I mean, if I could replicate her again, I would. But I think that is a testament to our program, how we don't we can replace and replenish, but we're also able to develop and just plug in the next one. And I think that's really, it says a lot about our kids, but it says a lot about just the kind of the culture that we've set in that area. And she's been great. I mean, she's battled some tough post players. I mean, I'm just racking my brain through the non-conference posts that she went to battle with, but a lot of them bigger, taller, stronger, but none of them more hardworking than Laura Erikstrup. And she's a gem, and I'm so glad she's having success, because she's deserved and earned all of that.
You talked about Alyssa missing a couple of games with an injury in that stretch. Anna Osley came in and off the bench and filled in quite admirably for her. How big was it for you to see Anna knock a few shots down, just, in that situation where, she stepped in where her opportunity was?
I mean, another great kid. I mean, really, if I could keep this team forever, they really are full of just wonderful human beings. And Anna, there's not another more deserving person than her too. She's just worked, and she has given me zero attitude from the time she stepped on campus to all up today in the future. She's just a yes, coach, got you, coach. How can I do better, coach? Whatever you need, coach. And in those moments when you need someone to step up in a starter's absence, she's like, I'm ready, coach. I'll do my best I can and above. I'll go above and beyond. And that's Anna for you. And so she's always one that we feel confident when she's out there, whether it's as a starter, as a reserve, having to fill some other shoes. Like she's just steady. She's so steady. And her and Alyssa both they're kind of knockdown shooters, but their defense has come a long way, and they're good in the system. That's just a want factor and a heart factor, and they both have that. So I'm really proud of her. But it's nice to have that depth too, especially when you're getting down to the grind here. And Anna's just one that she'll step up and she'll do whatever this team needs without a word, without complaint. Like she's just willing and able. And again, the role definition on this team and kind of the acceptance of that has been a characteristic that has helped us succeed as well. So you have to applaud every starter, every reserve, whether it's 2 minutes or 20 minutes or no minutes or 40 minutes. Like they're all just bought into that. And that's not a headache for me. And I really have to give a lot of credit to that team for that buy-in.
With such an classman heavy squad, that has to come from them. I mean, in a lot of cases, I mean, we see it all across the country, players leaving because they're not satisfied with their minutes. And just talk about how helpful it is to have an upperclassman squad that is heavy squad that has been there, done that, and is willing to just accept, okay, I'm starting. Okay, I'm going to play 15 minutes a night and just do the things that you have to do to be where you're at right now.
Yeah, well, when it comes from a coach, it might be a little bit less impactful than it comes from your peers. So if your peers are showing you the culture and showing you the path forward and how to be successful because they're kind of the lead role models and examples. I mean, I could tell them to get down in a stance, but I'm not there doing it with them. So if you got, Tier, Trinity, Laura, even Coop, if they're saying, no, this is what GCU defense looks like, this is what we're going to do. Otherwise, you're not going to help us, get on board. Then that's a little bit more convincing, I think, when you have a locker room of your peers kind of guiding and showing you the way. Then I can just be the reinforcer instead of the enforcer. And I think that's the beauty of our team is we've got these players and the returners that understand what I want the brand to look like, and they can enforce that. And I can just come in on the back end and do the easy work and reinforce it. So again, a lot of credit to every individual that makes up this team. They've been wonderful to coach every day. We're a good practice team too. Sometimes you just have a team of gamers, and that's not the case with us. We're a really good practice team. We show up on game days. We're locked in film. We have good shoot arounds. And again, that's a testament to those kids on that floor.
When you guys get ACU on senior night, that final night of the regular season, what's that going to be like for you to send off so many seniors for the last time on that Global Credit Union Arena floor?
Well, hopefully we have a lot more basketball to play. I know that's going to be their mindset. So that's probably going to be secondary as a send-off. I think primary is going to be, look at what you've done, look at what you've accomplished. What an amazing career. You're going out strong. Let's continue the momentum. Just a lot of joy for them. And we'll do the sad thing later, but I'm just going to be happy to recognize them, acknowledge their hard work and their successes. And it's going to be a really proud moment for me. And I think a really proud moment for Tiara, because 5 years is unheard of in a program these days, especially with her abilities. I mean, she graduated last year. She could have easily been picked up, by one of those high major schools, but she had loyalty and commitment. And I think it's paying off now because she's down in the history books of GCU, but I think there's going to be a moment of pride for her too, because this is her doing as well. And a lot of credit goes to her for sticking with it through every emotion that can come with basketball seasons and a career, and just getting herself to this point, but this program to this point of new heights. Is a lot of credit goes to Tiara.
She was the first recruit you brought in when they hired you to take the job in that COVID spring of 2020, when you couldn't take visits, you couldn't watch AAU games. Just talk about what it's been like to get back to normal recruiting.
Yeah, that's crazy. It seems like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. I mean, Tierra, I heard defensive player of the year and my ears perked up. So I watched some game film and I was like, I can work with that. Like if I want to initiate my brand right away, she can be a piece to that. I could see the potential and the possibilities. And to her credit, she's worked on her game, both offensively and defensively, but she had the defensive skills and the defensive tools to be able to play in the system. So that was a no-brainer. Now I get to see kids live. I've learned a lot in 5 years. You know, I still want to recruit to the system, but I've learned to like some of that, like Alyssa, for example. I don't know if she's the picture perfect system fit that someone would think of when they think of our brand, but we've been able to plug her in a way that she's really helped get this brand, especially offensively, to the next level. And when you can recruit a kid that is as hardworking as her, even though she might not um, pass kind of what it looks like from an eye test from the defensive side of things, she's so willing to work. So we were able to teach her technique. She busts her tail out there, which that's three-quarters of the brand is just playing hard and technique. And then kind of the ability to anticipate. She's learned how it fits within the whole scheme of things and how the five players need to gel and mesh and read off each other on the floor. So I've learned a lot about, you know, don't necessarily write someone off if they don't initially look like they could quote unquote fit the perfect brand of defense. But if they're a hard worker, you can teach that. And then they can give you some things in some other areas that we were maybe lacking before. So it's been nice to see the kind of transition and evolution of that throughout being here for 5 years.
And obviously, you know, the numbers speak for themselves in every category across the board, defensively and offensively. I don't think there's a category in the country where you're outside the top 100.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're almost 50% from the field goal, which is, I didn't know that would be the case in the beginning of the year. I think number 6 in the nation in 3-point shooting, and we're still up there in steals, number 9 in steals, I think number 25 in assists. But yeah, those top 25 categories, I think that's why we belong in the tournament. We are a top 25 team in some of these statistical categories, and I think that's a huge, impressive benchmark for us. I mean, I think we're the number 4 in winning percentage. You know, we could easily end this season on a 30 plus game wins. So I think that's why we belong. And I think that's why we're in the conversation. I think that's why I believe we could win in the tournament. This team could win and could have one of those upset games in the tournament. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I get to see him every day. But you just look at the roster. I mean, we've got probably 4, I'd say, first team all conference players. I don't know if we'll get it, but if you're talking about Trinity and Tierra and Alyssa and Laura, those are players. There's a bunch of top 25 teams would like to have those players. And so I think for us, it's just a matter of taking care of business. Obviously, we can control our own destiny, but we could make some noise. And I think this is a team that could do it and win some games.
Yeah, and you made some noise in the AP Top 25 poll last week for the first time in program history. Just talk about your reaction when you saw that. I don't know if you're one of those ones that looks at the AP Top 25 every week or not.
No, I just got my buddies texting me, and so it was nice to get that nod. And I think we know we belong in the conversation. This is a special team. It is. It's a historic team. I think it's you've got kind of every player in that starting 5 that brings something that complements the next, which is really unique. You know, who are you going to choose to shut down? You can't just pick 1 or 2 or 3. You really have to focus on all 5. And then it's a great thing to understand too that, you know, where we've been and then where we're going. Like we've really taken a huge leap in that with kind of that top 25 vote, with being in the top 25 category and a lot of defensive and offensive statistical stats in the nation. That's all great. And it's been a nod to kind of where we're going and what we're doing and the vision that I had for this program. And a lot of credit goes to the administration. They had that same vision too. That's why I was so hungry and excited about this job, is because they thought big. And as a competitive coach, I want to think big, and kind of here we are doing some of those things now, and hopefully it's good momentum to carry us into the future.
Um, if somebody was to get you guys in Vegas, make the case for a two-bid whack.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think our non-conference kind of speaks for itself. You look at what Arizona's doing and beating that team, and obviously Arizona State. And I mean, Oregon, I wish we could play that one again. Trinity was in an early foul trouble. And if you go back and look, she was a +1. I think she played around 30 minutes. So for 30 minutes, we were winning that game by 1. We were winning when Trinity was in the game, essentially. So I think that was a little bit more competitive game than maybe the score showed. It was early too. I think the case comes, and are you playing your best basketball towards the end of the year, regardless if you have a good record? I think the answer to that is yeah, we keep on peaking and we keep on going up. Last week we played number 2 and 3 in the conference and beat them both double digits. I think that's something that they're looking at as well. And I mean, who wouldn't want a 30+ win team in the tournament to be able to compete? And I do. I think we go in there and win. We can go in there and win. This team really can. And we're full of kind of good players, but again, it's not just winning on one side of the basketball. I think this team has proven that we're offensively efficient, but we can also be a very exciting brand of defense that's really tough to compete with. And if we were to get, a favorable seed in that 12, that 13, if that were the case too, I feel really, really, really good about that first game. So I know we can control our own destiny, and that's what we're focused on right now. And these are a bunch of what ifs, but my team's been really good at one game at a time. It is, talking to you, exciting to think about. And I obviously want to pull for my team to get that nod, because I think we do belong, and I do think we could win that game. And but we'll take it one game at a time and just not be satisfied where we're at, but continue to chase our goals.
Are you, now that we've entered the middle of February, and we're 3 weeks from WAC Vegas, and in the position you're in right now, controlling your fate in terms of the regular season title and all those things, do you become a bracketology watcher, or not in the least?
No, I don't. And that's probably because that messaging from my team, top down approach, is they know we could drop one. This is not an easy league. This is a league that's tough. That's there's a lot of different factors, especially when you're playing on the road. But we really are focused on like our record 0-0. Every kid in that locker room would tell you, if you asked them the record, they'd say 0-0. And so I think that's just been our mentality as we move forward, is no one's going to give you any wins. That's never going to happen. You have to earn every single one of them. So how do you approach that daily? How do you approach that from a prep standpoint? How do you approach that regardless of records or who you're playing? Our team's been really good about that. And we've got to earn every single one. And we know that.
You're visiting CVU on their alumni day. I want to focus on we talked about Olivia Lane earlier. She got her shot professionally in Luxembourg. Just talk about how excited you were to find out that was coming down the pike for her, and hopefully she's the first of many under your tenure to get their shot professionally, whether it's stateside or abroad.
Yeah, I do think we've got a lot of pros on our team. We've even talked about it sometimes on our off days, or when we get a second, we're putting some highlight films together. We've got agents lined up. It's nice my team that's an after season conversation, but we are kind of putting some things together so they do have the opportunity. And someone like Liv, who did have so much success here and is in a great league, that's something that is marketable too for our future recruits. And I think a lot of kids have aspirations to play at that next level. I think Trinity, I mean, she's going to be a pro. She can I see her working her way up quickly. I think there's a lot of kids on our team that are going to be able to help another team out and continue their basketball career, which again is a testament to their hard work, but also that program recognition too, that maybe there are some teams overseas that, oh, we do like a GCU kid. We understand their work ethic. We know what we're getting when we get a kid like that. Hopefully our reputation will precede itself, and that'll be a positive for our kids coming in and through the program as well.
And then just, talk about sharing this road, with your, your husband and your kids. Just obviously they come with you on a couple of road trips. Now that you're in a position where you're close to clinching it, are they going to be on the road with you guys, so they can be there if and when it happens?
Yeah, again, we take it one game at a time with our family too. It seems like. It was funny. I was just asking my assistant Deja, I'm like, is my family coming Saturday? Are they flying with us? So I have to ask Deja what my family's doing. It's funny. So they'll be there Saturday. I think they're going to go to Disney while we're practicing. So they have some perks when they come to games for sure. The perk for Saturday is they'll get out of school Friday. So that's kind of a nice perk that they enjoy. But since Crosby's in second grade, they haven't traveled as much, but down the stretch, there's going to be some fun games that they'll be able to travel to. And then obviously WAC Vegas, but they're really excited for California because Disney and I think they might go to Legoland too. So they're all about it, probably more so for the fun than mom's games, but they'll still be there in purple supporting game time.
Well, you picked a great week to come to Southern California. It's going to be, I think, 65 or 70 out here today. Last week when UTA came out here for the, I think, second time in 3 years, they picked the rainiest week of February to come out.
Well, good. That'll make the kids happy. Sunshine and fun.
And then just, lastly, 3 weeks till your last WAC Vegas. I know the Mountain West tournament's in Vegas, but it's not this, they're at Thomas and Mack. We're in the Orleans. Just talk about your Orleans arena experience and what maybe carries over as you prepare to take GCU over to the Mountain West and try to continue the things you've built here.
Yeah, well, Drew on the women's basketball side at the WAC, he's been great, and I just think he makes that experience. They're such great hosts that it makes the experience memorable for the kids, fun and exciting for the fans, from the announcers to just the atmosphere and the aura. And obviously we have a great crowd that travels. We've got busloads of Havocs already excited to come. And so that makes it special for us, the Lopes fans that are also invested in that. And obviously having the men and women to cheer on too. It's exciting for our fans. So it's been a great tournament, and we're excited this year to really go out there and just give it our best. And we feel good if this team is clicking and we're just really focused and trying, that we'll have success. And I'm really confident with this group. And that's something, again, that if you're going into tournament time, you want to feel good about the team you're coaching. And I've just felt great about this team.
All right. GCU women's basketball coach Molly Miller, we'll let you get back to prepping for that trip to CBU and the stretch run of the WAC regular season. Thank you so much for your time, and hopefully I'll see you Saturday.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow WAC Hoops Nation on all your favorite social media platforms.